Hey everybody, Poppin' Fresh here, back with a little update to the Singles Draft League. Wanted to go through my thought process on making some big changes to the team. I played one game, recorded it, was very, very low energy. I kind of realized midway through that I didn't really like the way my team was working, and maybe it was too early, but I decided to go big and just go ahead and change everything up. Turn this volume so I can hear myself think. So, first of all, I already blew all my transactions. In this league, you can have 5, and all 5 have been spent. So, let's go through my choices and take a look at who's here and who is not here anymore. So, starting off at the top, let's take a look. Let's talk about some issues with my team that I had in its previous incarnation. So, just looking from the type charts and these other little things here, the stats and the moves. Type chart, it's okay. I have a good amount of mons from different types. I have no normals, ices, ghost dragons, or darks, and that's acceptable. Normal types aren't the best. Ice types, maybe you can deal without, but not having a dark, ghost, or a dragon kind of sucks. And that kind of leads to me having a giant ghost weakness. The only even mon on my team that interacts with ghost type is Slowking. He gets chunked by it. So I was watching the draft review that some of the other guys made, and they did note that I was a huge ghost bait. I was also very much prone to taunt, which is accurate. I mean, especially Fukamuku, if it gets taunted, that's a dead mon. But, got my coffee here. Give me the energy I need. So, type-wise, I was okay. I could do better. Stats-wise, I only have 2 stats here that are green. Granted, green, the coloring here is kind of arbitrary. Who really cares if your stats 100 if your HP in moveset doesn't back it up? So that's not as important, but I only have green for my defenses, and everything else is red or gray. And in terms of moves to watch out for, I thought I was pretty good here. I thought I did a pretty good job. I have all the hazards that I really need. Sticky Webs is a nice to have, but with how slow my team is, it doesn't make that big of a difference. I only have Defog as my options for hazard removal, so that could be an issue if I get taunted. No rapid spinners to be seen to get rid of them. I had a nice smattering of pivot moves, Volt Switch, U-Turn, Teleport, and Baton Pass. No issues there. And then last off, for Cleric stuff, ooh, excuse me. I only have Clefable, which Clefable is kind of... I love Clefable, it's awesome. But a lot of the times it can be hurting for the extra move slots. Because, I mean, when you learn, like, 200 moves, and you can only pick 4, that really... you gotta make sure you pick 4 good moves. And, I mean, you always... Moonblast is usually going to be one of those moves, so really it's pick 3. So, it's kind of tough to figure out all the stuff you want to do on Clefable, so sometimes it can be nice to have somebody as a backup in that role. Maybe you want Rocks, Teleport, Soft Boiled, and Moonblast on Clef, but then you can't have Aromatherapy, so it'd be nice to have someone else to do that for you. And you want to run Wish, or no, I think it's... something's incompatible with Teleport. I think it's Soft Boiled. So maybe... I don't know. But it's nice to have repetition. So, I'll go through the list and talk about each of the changes I made, why I made them, and kind of the order in which I made them. So the first thing that I set my mind out on was that I wanted to get rid of Typhlosion. I think Typhlosion is pretty undervalued at tier 5. It's a great mon. Definitely not tier 5 value. Definitely not the same as Caterpie, anything unevolved, any base form, any baby Pokemon. This thing being in the same category as Cleffa and Igglybuff is just fucking stupid. So, granted, I know there could be, if it was points based, those would be like 0 points. Typhlosion could be like 2 or 3. But I got Typhlosion to back up my big fire weakness from Mega Scizor, so I could switch it in and get a Flash Fire boost, but I have other ways of doing that. Ho-Oh's a great switch into fire, Slowking's a great switch in, and Mega Scizor and Slowking, just in general, have great type synergy with each other. They cover each other's weaknesses pretty well. And my Slowking, Ho-Oh, Amoonguss triple regenerator core is really, really bulky, and they can take a lot of hits well. So I think I didn't really need to get Typhlosion. So I was thinking about it, and looking at the weaknesses my team has, I have no Ghost Resist, I only have one cleric, so I thought something nice to go there would be Audino. And despite how absolutely disgusting Audino is, I cannot stand to look at it. Well, maybe this will change afterwards. I hated Aromatisse season 1 of the VBLS, and now it's passable, so I'll probably grow on Audino. But Audino is another regenerator, so that's 4. Awesome. I love that. And it's a really good cleric. It gets almost everything Clefable can do. Well, cleric-wise. Wish, Healing Wish, Heal Bell. That's kind of the big 3 for a cleric. Doesn't get teleport. That's okay. It can it can dry switch, and it has regenerator, so that kind of makes up for not having teleport. And it also allows me to have something to switch into a ghost type. If I come up against a team with Dragapult, between Clef and Audino, I can pretty much shut it down. It's not really much you can do against those 2 mons. Doesn't really offer anything in the way of offense, but I think it learns like Seismic Toss or something, so it should be fine there. Next thing I wanted to go ahead and switch was Heracross. Heracross was okay in the game that it played, but thinking about it, it's... I don't know. I just feel like it didn't really fit, and it's too weak to flying moves, and it's just... I really got Heracross for spikes, and well, I liked the role that it could do. I really was... Even during the draft, I was thinking about switching it out, but I didn't want to pick the mon that I'm spoiler picking up now, because I didn't want to overlap on types with Mega Scizor. So spoilers, what's a Pokemon that can set up spikes? That is a bug and a steel type. Oh, it's our good friend, Fortress. So, Fortress, super cool mon. Gets all this. It's kind of like Omastar. It gets all the hazards that deal damage. But unlike Omastar, it gets sturdy. It has a better type. It's only quad weak to one type that I have a lot of other switch-ins for. And it also gets a pivot move with Volt Switch. And it gets Rapid Spin. So Fortress is a super... I think it's a really great pick. I'm surprised nobody else picked it up. I think it's a great kind of hazard. It's kind of a one-mon hazard control machine, right? It'll set hazards, it'll clear your own hazards, and it's not doing it the same way where something like Skarmory could, where it can set hazards, but if it's going to clear them, it has to get rid of all of its previous work. It can set up all 3 layers, or all 3 hazards, and then spin away their other stuff, so you keep pressure on them without removing your own work that you put in. So I like Fortress for that reason. And additionally, the Volt Switch, it's nice. It's, I mean, if they switch to ground type, what's the ground type going to do to Fortress, right? So even if I get blocked by that, I'm totally fine. So I thought that was a really good idea to put him there. But then having Fortress in this role kind of made me question 2 of my other mons. Obviously, Mega Scizor. I really don't want 2 bug and steel types. As great as the typing as that is, I really don't want 2 of them on my team. And then also made me question Omastar, because I really picked up Omastar for the Stealth Rock Spike and T-Spike's sweet. So, given that Fortress can do that, and it can Rapid Spin, and it can Volt Switch, it doesn't have the offensive pressure that Omastar can provide with Shell Smash, but given that it can do almost everything else I typically be using Omastar for, I decided that Omastar could probably go. So, again, look at my team. What am I missing? I really don't have much in the way of... I still only have one Dragon Switch-in, which is Audino, and I definitely don't want to bring that every game. I don't have a Dragon type, which is kind of Fairy Dragon Steel. That's like the go-to core. And I knew with some of the other switches I was going to make, I was going to start losing more forms of hazard control. So I wanted something that could take care of that. So a switch into a Ghost type, a Dragon type, and something that can control hazards. Well, what does that? Oh shit, I can't type. Drampa does that. So Drampa's a really good mon. It actually has a lot of power behind it, especially with Berserk. I mean, if Berserk takes something like Galarian Moltres' 100 special attack and makes it scary, what's Berserk going to do with a 135 special attack? That is going to be super scary, I think. So based on that, I added Drampa to the team. It gets Defog, which is nice. So Boots Drampa could be a good answer to teams with a lot of hazard stacking. But Drampa also can just do a lot of damage. With a pair of specs on, that's getting 2-hit KOs on pretty much anything. It actually gets good spammable normal stab with Hyper Voice. It gets Draco Meteor, obviously. It also gets Cloud 9, which is kind of cool. I don't really know if I'm going to be facing any weather teams, but it's a useful little tech against them. It also gets Sap Sipper, which I don't really think I'd be using much. I really don't have much in the way of a grass weakness on my team. So that's Slowking and Pyukumuku, but I can switch in Ho-Oh, or one of my many other quad grass resists. So I don't think I'll be using Sap Sipper, but who knows, maybe. And so after that, I have two swaps left. I already talked about one. The other one I was kind of looking and kind of got put on the chopping block was unfortunately Mega Scissor. So Mega Scissor really good. It put in work in the game it was in. I only got it killed because I wasn't thinking, and I forgot about the speed drop from Curse, which made it slower than Calyrex, which let it get killed instead of just going right for the Bullet Punch. But definitely not anything bad against Mega Scissor. Just with the way I was changing my team, it didn't really fit in anymore. So based on this, I still don't have a Ghost Switch in. I don't have a really good... and if by getting rid of Mega Scissor, I get rid of one of my biggest physical threats, which is very unfortunate. And as I've been making these changes, my stats, my little stat thingy down here has been getting lower and lower, which is not good. But I wanted someone to replace Mega Scissor who could put on pressure, who could give me some crucial resists that I needed. I still don't have really much in the way of a dark resist besides Clefable. I have more ghost resists now, but still, tier 4 and tier 5 Drampa and Dino, don't know if you want to bring that to every game, and solely as your ghost counter. So given all that, and that I'd be losing my offensive Mega with boosting potential, I wanted to get something else that could fill that role. So I picked Mega Tyranitar. So Mega Tyranitar I'm super excited to use. It's such a great mon. It has a big fat stat total of 700, which is huge. A 164 base attack, which is ridiculous. It gets Stealth Rock, and it gets boosting moves. And not just any boosting moves, it gets Dragon Dance, which is super cool. So, and it gets just enough of a speed boost for Mega Evolving that the Dragon Dance can have it outspeed some things that regular T-Tar couldn't. I mean, I couldn't pick up regular T-Tar, someone else has it. But yeah, I really like Mega Tyranitar. It also replaces the niche that Mega Scissor had of Pursuit Trapping. It's the only one on my team that has Pursuit, but now it'll have Stab Pursuit, and it'll come off a higher attack stat. So I think that's a win-win. And lastly, it gives me some Sand. And a lot of my team is actually immune either by abilities or by just typing to Sand. So given the slower half my team, or the more stally half my team, having a nice 6% chip each turn can definitely make the difference. It's definitely a game of inches. So I think Mega Tyranitar is going to be a good fit. It gives me a quad weakness again, but I have plenty of fighting resist on my team, so I'm not really worried about that. And yeah, it'll be, I think it'll start pulling its weight pretty quick. And the last switch I made, which is kind of maybe, I don't know if it was the best idea, but I was kind of looking at it and realizing that the way my team's structured right now, as it is here, I only really have mainly stall pieces, mainly defensive pieces. Tyranitar and Ho-Oh put on pressure, Magnezone and Drampa put on pressure. Fable can also do that, but it needs time to set up. But besides that, I don't have anything that's like terrifying, you know? I don't have anything that you have to make your opponents prep for every single week. And this might bite me in the end, but I decided to trade out Gliscor for one of T-Tar's best friends, Excadrill. So by doing this, Excadrill gives me a super fast, super offensive answer to pretty much anything. I mean, I'm playing the Regieleki team this week, and an adamant Excadrill can outspeed a max speed Regieleki with Sand Rush. So they're not really going fast in Excadrill, so it gives me a nice answer to some of the more hyper offensive teams that can try to break past my defensive pieces by outspeeding them and one-hit KOing them. With Sword Stance, it gets stupidly powerful. In weeks where I'm not fighting a Regieleki team, I can, or not even Regieleki, it's really the Gallade that I'm trying to outspeed. it can run Sand Force, it can run Mold Breaker, it gets Rapid Spin as well, so like it's not as much of a easily taunted thing as Gliscor is, so it's pretty nice. It also gets Stealth Rock, so more hazards there. Looking at it now, and how quickly that other guy picked up Gliscor after I dropped it, makes me wonder if that was a good call, but I think it'll be fine. And re-looking at my team now after I made these changes, I have almost every type filled in now, just missing Ice, Fighting, and Ghost, which is not really a big deal. 3 types missing is not too bad when you have everything to cover something else. My only net weaknesses are Fighting and Ground. Fighting is not an issue because I'm not going to be bringing my 2 normal types into the same game, most likely. Ground can be more of an issue, but I have Ho-Oh to help out with that. Granted, Ho-Oh's weak to Rock, which most all ground types get, so we will cross that bridge when we come to it. And yeah, I still have my hazards. Granted, I have 1 less Spiker, but I have another Stealth Rocker, so it evens out there. I still have pivoting potential. I have 2 Rapid Spinners now, and I also have another really good support Clericmon. So I think on the whole, these changes are going to make my team, if not better, a lot more fun to play as. So I don't have to have the strategy of, all right, set up rocks and force 300 switches to win the game. I can actually go crazy hyper offensive with Excadrill, and I still have my slow, bulky guys to pivot him in safely and get my T-Tar in as well safely from a teleport from Slowking or something like that. So yeah, fun stuff. I'm excited to see how it goes from now. I got my first game later this week, so we will see how this team does. And I'm going to record a team builder, so I'll see you in like 1 second.